Unit 7, Lesson 7. This is the last unit, or last lesson of Unit 7. So we are getting close to the test. This lesson is pretty simple. It's just basically dealing with vocabulary and circles, obviously. So naming your circles. So I'm going to be using this particular example that they've given us here. So when we go to name our circle, you always want to name it by the center point that they write in. So this one just happens to be the letter O. So we would call this circle O. If they put any other letter there, so say they put an M or a K, then you would call it circle K or circle M. It's just named by the center point. Okay, a chord is something that you don't usually use a lot. It's just a line segment that connects 2 points on a circle. It doesn't have to be through the center. It can be through the center, but basically it's got to go from one side of the circle to the other. So you can see that AB here is a chord. OD is not a chord because it's not touching the outside of the circle. CE would be considered a chord as well because it goes from one side of the circle to the other. But most of the time you don't really use this one a lot when you're dealing with circumference and area and different things. Now, diameter is something that we do use quite a bit. A diameter is a line that goes from one end of the circle to the other, but it has to pass through the center, So my diameter here is this line CE. It goes from one side to the other, and it passes through the center. So AB would not be considered a diameter because it's not going through the center. So this is the diameter. A radius is something that starts at the middle and goes to the outside. Has to start in the middle. So like OD is considered a radius. It starts from the middle and works its way out. Now, for this particular one, you'll also see that CO is a radius because it starts at the middle and works its way out. And one more, we have OE is also a radius. It starts at a center and works its way out. Another thing that's pretty cool is it's half the diameter distance. So say, for instance, your diameter back here is, let's call it 12 inches. Let me make that one a little bit bigger. 12 inches. Then, if that's the case, then all your radiuses would be 6 inches. So half your diameter length. That one's super important as well. Circumference is the distance around the circle. So you want to start at one point and then you want to work your way all the way around the circle. That would be the circumference. It drives me kind of nuts because perimeter is a lot like circumference, but they use the word circumference for circles, but it's just another word for perimeter, the distance around a circle. We're not having to calculate circumference yet, but we will do that in the future. All the angles in a circle measure 360 degrees. So if you ever are talking about like a clock or anything like that, you'll see, like, if it's at 3 o'clock, then it's 90 degrees. If it's at 6 o'clock, then it's at 180 degrees. If it's at 90, then it's at 207, or 9 o'clock, then it's at 270 degrees. So basically what I need you to know here is if they give you a set of angles in this particular problem, what they'll say is they'll give us this angle and they'll leave out this one and they'll say, what would this one be if this is 270? And what you can do is you can say, okay, well, 270 minus 360 would give me 90. Basically, it's just letting you know that all the angles added up will give you 360. So if you have any questions about this, be sure and stop by. I'd be happy to help. And I hope everything's going good today.